Do you need cash? Do you want to consolidate debt? Premier Credit can help. They provide quick and confidential loans for any reason. Their service is same day and most loans are approved within minutes. You can apply in person or by the phone. Their experienced and knowledgeable loan professionals will leave you feeling confident that your loan is being properly handled in a secure manner. Premier Credit can be reached at 225-667-8100, or you can email WeSayYes@premiercredit.com, or stop by and spin the wheel at 139 Del Norte Avenue in Denham Springs. They're open Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and are a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast.
Hi, it's Tricia Johnston, residential realtor with Labrador Blum with your real estate tip of the week. Sometimes sellers are inclined to want to stay home for showings, but it's really not a good idea. The reality is that staying home doesn't create a relaxing environment for potential buyers to view your home, and it could affect their ability to view the house objectively. If there's some important information that you'd like to share with potential buyers, discuss with your realtor what the best way is to handle that. It can be uploaded to the MLS, displayed at the house, or both. Potential buyers and their agents will appreciate having as much information as possible at their fingertips. It's also a good idea to remove any extra vehicles from the driveway, and if at all possible, remove pets. Showings can be very stressful for your pets, and they can be a distraction for potential buyers. You really want buyers to be able to focus only on the house. If you do these things, it'll help create stress-free showings and make it a better experience for everyone. I'm Tricia Johnston with Labrador Blum. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I'll be back here next week with another real estate tip for you.
About 50% of the households in the United States currently own at least one pet. Now that means there's 45 million homes where at least one dog is presently enjoying life. The dog care industry falls into the general category of pet care services. This industry is made up of over 16,000 businesses in the United States. The combined revenue of these companies, $4.5 billion per year. My guest today is one of those 16,000 businesses representing the doggy daycare industry, and it's located right here in Denham Springs. And today we're going to talk about how the idea of opening a doggy daycare came to your mind, Mr. Jeremy Bigner of Bigner's Fur Babies. And we're also going to talk about what you offer in the way of doggy daycare, all the neat services and things like that. So with that, welcome, Jeremy, to Local Leaders, the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, you have a unique business. Doggy daycares, I thought were relatively rare. However, when we talked to each other and I started doing my research, I noticed there's, throughout the nation, there's more than I thought there were. And the convenience of this industry is really what sets it apart. Pets, in my opinion, and I don't want to say especially dogs because then all the cat owners will hate me, and vice versa. So we're going to say the pet industry in general. But, a lot of pets are considered members of the family. They are, I have a Dachshund named Happy, and she has been with us for 13 years. And I'll tell you what, she's like a child, and the most loving, I have the most loving dog in the world. You wouldn't believe it, but I'm sure you hear that from everybody. But The most loving dog in the world, And she's literally like a child, to us. And we take care of her as such. And so it would be very important to us if we had to have someone take that responsibility over because we were working or whatever we're doing. We want to know about them. We want to make sure that they're not just some sort of fly-by-night company or anything like that. So I was really excited to get you on the show because I think one of the advantages to you and coming on the podcast is the fact that people can kind of see who you are and get a feel for who you are. But you told me a story when we first talked about how you got into your business and what kind of gave you the idea to open. Of course, you run this business with your wife,
yes.
Ainsley.
Yes.
Love the name. Love that name. One of the most unique names. And so Ainsley also runs that business with you. Tell me a little bit about how you got into it.
Well, I'm of the mindset that your customer's experience can either make them your most loyal contributor or your next competitor.
No doubt.
And that's how we got started.
Yeah.
Was through basically a bad experience we had. So my sister was graduating from Ole Miss and her with her chemistry degree and everything like that.
Yeah.
We needed somebody to watch my dog Chewy, and the people that we normally would have set aside to do that fell through. They had things happen, like a lot of people that come to us actually have. They say, either my mom, my sister, my grandma, my niece, or my uncle, my brother, or a friend or somebody like that usually watches my dog, but something happened.
Yeah.
So because something happened, now they're left with trying to find another solution of somebody that's actually going to care about their dog as much as they do. And we were forced to kind of at the last minute just board my dog at a place where they pretty much would cage him up. And when he came back a little worse for wear, and just some things happened, and I felt really horrible about the experience. My dog did not want to come near me. And it really messed with me emotionally. And I was actually talking to my boss about it at the time, and he was he knows I love my dog because he is, Chewy is my baby. He's my fur baby. He's my son.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people. I don't have a dog. I have a son. I have a fur baby. And he said, well, man, you love that dog so much. Why don't y'all just go and watch dogs on the weekend or something like that? And it sparked the idea.
Yeah.
And I
planted a seed, so to speak.
Pretty much. And then I talked to Ainsley, and I said, what do you feel about, going to watch some dogs on the weekend and maybe try and make, just do a little something, to make a little extra money and actually do something worthwhile in life. She was all for it. And then we put the word out.
So she was a dog lover as well.
She actually is she's the reason why I have such a love for dogs like I do. I mean, I grew up around dogs all my life, and I was of the mindset that they were just pets. Ainsley took it to a whole nother level with her life, with our current dog with our dog that we have now, the dog that she actually had before we even got together. They actually have a relationship older than ours. Riley, our little Maltese that we have. Okay. She took that love for that dog to a whole nother level than I ever understood or was taught. Okay. And that was her baby, and I didn't understand until I got Chewy what that really meant. And it's kind of like when people have kids of their own, they understand why parents are the way they are and how sentimental they are about their children.
Absolutely.
And so that's where I learned this love for dogs from. And with Chewy, it grew. And with watching friends and other people that we knew, their dogs, it grew from there. And then it just seemed like just a natural fit. And it came to a time where I would see friends of mine with their dogs. I'd just go play with their dogs. I just love to play with their dogs. And after I had Chewy, and I just started it just grew from there. So anyway, we went ahead and put the word out on Facebook. We already had a lot of people that we knew. And a lot of people, my mother-in-law is a photographer here in Denham Springs.
Okay.
Debbie Medlock Photography.
Yeah.
And so she had a big clientele base already. And so with that good quality name right there behind us, her client said, well, Debbie's a good person. Ainsley and Jeremy are good people. Let me see what happens. A few of my friends also started boarding their dogs with us, and then after that, we started getting reviews. We got a Facebook page. We started learning how to actually grow a business. I studied Gary Vee and Dan Locke a lot. I'm very much a big Gary Vee. So I learned about the thank you economy. Yeah. And after that, it just just snowballed and just went and turned into an avalanche. Now we have hundreds of reviews. We're on rant and raves and Livingston rant and raves all the time.
Hopefully a rave and not a rant.
Oh yeah, well definitely raves, all raves. It was I think there was this one lady and she did a rant and rave. We didn't even know what rant and raves was until she did it, and then she gave us a review on rant and raves, and after that, I mean, it just blew up like crazy. It was before it was just friends of friends, and then we started getting total strangers that didn't have no connection to us whatsoever.
Power of the internet and social media today.
Basically, the first few months of our infancy when we was growing, we were watching dogs on the weekend, and we started getting these week-long requests. Well, then Ainsley was working a part-time job at a daycare, and so we had to explain to people, well, look, we have a few hours where they're going to be in the kennel, but I come home in the afternoon, so it'll only be an hour or two and everything like that, and they'll be okay. Yeah. And people were understanding of that. And then after about 3 months, she was able to quit her job.
Wow.
And run a business full time.
Yeah.
And then just with her being there full time, dedicated, with me helping her out as well.
So let's talk about that real quick before we go any further. That was a decision.
It was. It was a very big decision. That was
something that, a lot of business owners, there was a time, none of us, well, I don't want to say none of us, there's people that inherit businesses and things like that, but most of us have a job, and then the time comes. Yeah. And much like your wife's position, you have to say, okay, I'm not giving enough of a percentage of my time, maybe even a percentage of my heart to this business that I really want to be in. And I've got to make a decision. I call it a leap. It's like a leap of faith. And so I can imagine you as a couple, you had to sit down and have that conversation and say, look, I really feel good about this. Maybe you were taking off and money was coming in, and you got to have money to run a business, and it was coming in as you needed. And so that decision came up. How stressful was that? Was that a coffee table decision that it's like, it just felt right and we went for it?
It took a few conversations.
Yeah.
It took definitely a few good hard weeks of talking about it and figuring out the numbers and trying to see when would be the right time for it.
Yeah.
We did pray about it. Sure. Obviously. I mean, it wasn't going to be a huge drastic change as far as financials and everything like that go, because I was doing the majority. I still have a primary job.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like it was going to be this whole, oh my God, we got to go. It would have been, it was a lot easier than some people would have to face that dilemma.
Absolutely. Because you still had some income coming in.
Yeah, we still had a little bit of a safety net, as I like to call it.
And that's the smart thing.
Yeah.
Some people don't have that choice, and it's like, or they just totally have just nerves of steel. Yeah. And they just say, I'm just going to do it. And I admire folks like that can do that, but it's always better. And especially in a day and time where typically both people in the household work, you put it in a good way. And that is a safety net. It takes some of the pressure off there, Jeremy, because that's a lot of pressure. If it's the only income, and, the stress of that you don't need when you're already trying to start that business. But y'all kind of got off the ground running, as you say. I mean, it was almost like you were sitting back and just letting it happen as these reviews were coming in and things. So, definitely continue. I didn't want to cut you off, but I thought that was an important point.
Yeah.
With regard to your wife and that decision that, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and do this full time, and we still got your job. If anything can happen. I mean, COVID could happen. Anything could happen, and we'll get into that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But so very good. So you started getting the reviews and all those sorts of things, and business started. Are these customers that you had, were these everyday customers that would bring their pets, or?
So we primarily started out as dog boarding.
Gotcha.
At first, and we still do dog boarding, and
when you say
doggy
boarding,
daycare.
It's
like
overnight
stays.
Okay,
and we only keep a low number to keep the quality high.
That's very important. Yes.
Yeah, very much so, because we don't want to take away from. We don't want any dogs to be neglected.
Right.
at all, because I'd want the same thing for my dog if I boarded with somebody, which I have had to use somebody that I know in the area for boarding. Miss Rhonda Scallion over at Faithful Companions. I love her to death.
Yeah.
And she 30 years experience. I used her.
Okay.
When we had to go on vacation. So sometimes you make these connections with people, but as far as
that's how you took off.
Yeah, how we took. I mean, it just snowballed. I mean, 10 years ago, you'd have asked me if you'd have told me I'd have been running a doggy daycare, dog boarding business. I'd have just laughed at you. I never would have thought about it. I was driving trucks back then. Yeah. So I mean, my life has really went in a wild direction. But I mean, so the first year or two, we didn't have any doggy daycare at all. Really, COVID is what got us to grow our doggy daycare, because people were working from home, and while working at home, sometimes their dogs are a distraction.
Gotcha. So initially it was just boarding overnight. On vacation, things like that. I got you.
And then we stayed busy with that all the time as well.
Okay.
And then when COVID hit, I mean, it was about a good solid 2 months of nothing. We couldn't watch any dogs. I mean, it was just, everybody was uncertain of what was going on. You know, businesses were shut down and everything like that. And we were also shut down as well. So my hours got cut as well. So the income from the business, my income from my job, I was very fortunate and lucky. Matt Abear's Cajun Meats.
I know Matt very well.
He went and he was running the Abear's seafood chat, and he needed help.
And Watson.
Yep. And he said, look, I need some help. Will I let you work on the weekends if you want part-time? I said, yes, I'll take it. And I went and helped him out and everything like that. And he helped me through a very trying time. And I'll always be appreciative of that.
Yeah, him and Cressy are
very good people. Very sweet people.
Well, that's interesting. And shout out to Abear's Cajun Meats over there. Stephanie Berthelot and the crew at SR Enterprise can handle it all, from sheetrock to texture to paint. Give Stephanie a call at 504-432-9284. SR Enterprise, where they spread the paint and you spread the word. You went through COVID and this thing hits, and it's like, oh man, what can we do? What can we not do? How do we get through this? We were talking earlier about steps and things like that you've kind of taken to ensure that anybody that needs to bring their dog by would feel comfortable. And let's go through those a little bit. What changes did you make to your normal pre-COVID policy, I guess?
So a new procedure or policy we have now is we don't allow people to come into our home and everything. We have a carport, and it's nice and everything like that. We got a nice little table. My wife is very good with decorations, so she finds some good decorations to put out there, some dog centric, very bright, vibrant stuff. And what we do is we have a table, chair. We show them our contract. They read it, they review it, initial sign, everything like that. Sure. We do everything outside. That way we can give people the option of whether or not if they want to wear a mask, they can choose to wear a mask. If they don't want to wear a mask, they also have the freedom and choice to not wear a mask if they want to. And they're outside, so people can be distance apart. It's not like everybody's up close and everybody, and also reduces the risk of exposure.
Agreed.
Into our home. And
very good.
And then when they pick up, we sanitize everything down and make sure that everything's good for them, so that if anything did come in our home, it's not going to leave and go with them.
Gotcha. Now, is it just dogs that y'all accept?
Just dogs.
Just dogs.
I had a very bad experience with cats when I was young. I'm definitely very afraid of cats, unfortunately.
Gotcha. And I imagine you get calls from people, probably exotic animals and everything else.
Not too many on the exotic animals. There is actually a lady that I recently saw the other day that posted on her Facebook, and she's a friend of mine on Facebook I've seen that does exotic animals as well.
Gotcha.
So I haven't talked to her yet, but I always try to talk to different people in our line of work just to see who they are and what they're about. And if I hear a lot of good things about them, I definitely want to reach out to them, because you never know. One day I might need them when I go on vacation. So
that's right.
I always want to know good people.
Yeah, and it's funny, people. you're the person that people go to when they go on vacation. And sometimes you forget that you go on vacation every now and then too.
Once every 12 years.
Indeed. I know that feeling. And even when we're on vacation, we're not really sometimes. When you're a business owner, it's 24/7.
We were still working. We were figuring out how to plan our scheduled post on Facebook and everything. We did a whole week's worth of posts within the first night we were there at what you call Panama City Beach.
Yeah.
It was over there. It was beautiful. I loved it, but we did do some work while we were still there. So
Absolutely.
I understand that.
Yeah. Business owners, there's no rest for the weary. There's no doubt. Now, before we go any further, I want to make sure people know where you're located. Okay. You are in Denham Springs. Kind of tell everybody, I know you're by the Antique Village, sort of, kind of.
Oh, actually, right up the road from the studio here. Right on Cockerham and Hatchell, next to the Circle K.
Yep. There you go. So that's easy to find. I mean, that is literally, it's right down the road from where we are, which you may not know where we are, but we are right here on Hatchell. You pass up the Catholic Church, you go to the end, and you're right there. Take a left. Okay. Good deal. So right here in Denham Springs, a Livingston Parish business. Now, you originally are from Tangipahoa Parish?
Yes, I actually grew up out in the backwoods Independence.
Gotcha.
And went to Hammond High and everything like that.
Okay.
And, I ended up meeting my wife on Facebook.
Okay.
And then and found out where I was working at. I was a tree trimmer at the time, and she was working at Brown Harris Chevrolet.
Tree trimmer?
Yeah, I was a tree trimmer.
Wow.
We used to trim trees right by the power line.
Oh, man.
Very scary job.
Yeah. Yeah, nerves of steel you have, my friend.
Going through the swamps of Manchac with gators swimming around was very much most frightening. I was crying like a baby. I ain't gonna lie to you. I did not want to be in them swamp waters, I promise you.
Yeah, you were probably like, man, I need a doggy daycare or something.
And a lot of those guys that work through Entergy like that and everything, or through Demco like that, the guys who work in those companies get like a third of what a lineman would get.
Yeah.
So it really was not worth it, I promise you.
No,
I make very good money, but not those tree trimmers.
Yeah. Now, how did you end up in Livingston Parish and in Denham Springs specifically?
This is where life takes you on a wild journey, I guess. I met my wife.
Yeah.
And I realized the pay that I was making was not enough. So I had to make a call, and the only thing I knew to do in my life at that time was I followed in my dad's footsteps. I became a truck driver.
Yeah.
I went over the road. I got a career in trucking, and I was over the road for a few years, and I was still dating my wife. I was still dating Ainsley at the time, and I knew I had to find a job getting home. We were planning our wedding while I was over the road.
Yeah.
It was weird. So basically, after we got married, I came home right before we got married.
Yeah.
And I was living with my in-laws.
Okay.
And trying to save up money so we can get a house.
Sure.
Eventually, I found a company out in Port Allen, driving dump trucks.
Yeah. I
loved them. I was with them for years. Kent Materials. I loved them to death. They're the reason why I have my home right there now, up the road from here.
You were driving cross country prior to that?
I was driving 18-wheelers all over this great United States.
Wow. You've seen a lot of places.
I have. I felt like Dorothy a lot of time during the wintertime. I say, ain't no place like home for sure. Especially when you're driving through the mountains with ice on the roads and everything like that. All the snow. I got tired of snow.
I can imagine.
I like being here where it's green.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't care what anybody says. Summer can be hot as it wants to be. That's why God made AC.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the interesting thing is when you're from here, and, we get the little snow every now and then. And it's a great thing for a day or so for people that never see it and never get to play in it. And of course, a few years ago, remember we had the big,
I remember that,
foot of snow or whatever it was. I'm sure I'm off a little bit, but we had a lot of snow.
It was a lot. I had to go to work that day too. I was mad. I had to go to work and everything.
Well, I remember that. And of course, everybody had their pictures on Facebook with their kids, and me and my wife and kids took a picture, and it's all this snow. You would have thought we were in Colorado or something.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But yeah, when you got to deal with it every day and you're driving in it, a big rig. Yeah. White knuckle time, I'm sure, on some of the mountains and things like that.
Oh, most definitely.
No doubt. So right here you are in Denham Springs, and you're running your business, and people want to know, Jeremy, what services do you offer? Like, so you do boarding. We know that. Tell me a little more about that, the day boarding, for example.
Okay. Well, so the boarding that we have for people that go out of town and everything. Yeah. We do. Basically, our home, it's a home-based business that we have, and it's free roam.
Okay.
Meaning that we have instead of putting dogs in a cage all day long, they're actually able to roam around our house. We have dog beds all over our house, as well as our sofas and everything like that. Dogs will play with each other. They'll go and lay on beds. It's kind of more of a relaxed. It's like they're on vacation as well. It's a very relaxed setting for them.
Yeah.
They get to interact with other dogs. It's very much a group social environment. So we do have to turn down people sometimes because they will. Luckily in this parish, especially in Denham, we have a lot of honest people.
Yeah.
And they're upfront with me when they tell us, look, my dog doesn't get along with other dogs.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not one to just sit there and be greedy and take all the money. I was like, well, your dog's not really suited for us.
Yeah.
Because this is the environment we have, and I can't, I can't risk of any danger to the other dogs that are here if another dog's going to attack, a dog staying with us.
That's right.
So we do, we try to be responsible, and we try to have that high. And that's why we have such great reviews, because we are honest, we're upfront. We we let people know what's going on. So
and it's cage free. Yeah, and which is a great thing.
During the day it is. At night, At night we do kennel them for their safety.
Sure.
Because if we're asleep, we don't know what they might get into.
That's right.
And so that's what we like to tell people. I said, look, if your dog's not used to being kenneled, we actually have had dogs sleep with us. In our bed, at the foot of our bed, we've actually put a kennel at the foot of our bed so they can just see us at night so they can sleep. We have dog beds in there too, so they're just used to sleeping in a dog bed in the same room. I have a 60-pound boxer that loves to just snuggle up next to me.
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
Now you do meet and greets before, or you offer these. Where what goes on during that process?
So some people are. Even though we've had hundreds of reviews, we've had a lot of good word of mouth business, and I mean, people can obviously see our passion. Some people are still skeptical.
Yeah,
and so they want to come see our business. They want to come see what they want to take a tour of our facility or see what we're about and everything like that.
Absolutely.
So we used to do it inside our home. Now we do it under our carport and everything like that. But it's basically 1 hour where it's like an AMA. You ask me anything.
Yeah.
Whatever you need to know, I'll tell you whatever. I'll tell you what we have going on, what we do, and then give you peace of mind.
Yeah, and it's also an opportunity to make sure the dog is a good fit for you, and you're a good fit for the dog.
Absolutely.
And because dogs have personalities, just like people, and there's maybe just a situation sometimes, I'm sure very rare, but where a particular person, a dog just cannot stand maybe, or vice versa. Sometimes there's just not a click between that human being and that dog. And so those meet and greets are a great opportunity. And as you just said a minute ago, it gives the pet owner the ability to feel comfortable. Yeah. Because they know that the dog gets along with Jeremy or Miss Ainsley, so that's a very good service that you offer there, and will definitely give people peace of mind. There's no doubt about it. So another question would be, do you require like shot records, things like that? Okay.
We definitely do.
Tell me about that.
We require that all dogs have the bare minimum, at least the bare minimum of rabies, bordetella, and distemper. That's just the bare minimum anywhere you go. Some places do the 5-in-1, some places do 7-in-1 shot packs, which will have those shots in there already. So we just say, look, we need rabies, distemper, and bordetella. If they have more than that, that's all the more better. And those are the biggest communicable diseases that you really need to protect against.
Agreed.
And we still tell people, look, because some people will tell us, well, I my dog had shots and everything like that. I sent them over to this place and whatnot, and they came back with kennel cough. It can still happen. Yeah, it can still happen, even though
you get a flu shot and get the flu.
Exactly.
I mean, it's to me, it's the same situation.
Yeah, and so I tell somebody, if somebody can 100% guarantee your dog won't get kennel cough or parvo or whatever kind of communicable disease that is out there, it's foolhardy and it's arrogant. And I'll never tell somebody that 100% something won't happen. There's always something that's going to happen somewhere. We just have to act quickly and take care of it right then and there. Yeah.
So let me get to answer that question. Yeah, you do need at least those minimum, those 3 shots. And so you can have the comfort of also knowing that your dog is around other dogs that have those shots. And that's important as well.
Oh yeah.
What do the advantages to a doggy daycare to me are pretty vast.
Right.
Especially nowadays, because as we discussed earlier, it's two people households working. It's not like the 50s and 60s where typically the lady of the house stayed at home and cooked and cleaned and all those sorts of things. I mean, now they go to work and still come home and cook and clean and all those things.
And run a business on
top of it. William Waldrep of TWFG Insurance in Denham Springs can service all of your insurance needs. Offering auto, life, health, and commercial insurance, William Waldrep of TWFG Insurance is a proud supporter of Local Leaders, the podcast. So this is a very convenient service for the working household, I guess you could say. But also with doggy daycare, what I've noticed with a lot of pets, and my pet goes through this, and that's that separation anxiety that they get when nobody's around.
Right.
I've literally pulled up to my house and I could hear my dog howling inside. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, you would think the world was coming to an end, poor thing. But a lot of dogs go through that. I mean, they have like antidepressants for dogs now. It's crazy. You would never think that they would have that, but I'm not sure how it is with, cats and things like that. But I know with dogs, because that's what we've always owned, those animals, they really benefit from being around other pets or other people constantly.
Yeah. And they get wore out and everything. So they get all that energy they got built up. See, we go and work all day long. We come back home and we're tired and they're ready to play.
Yeah.
And so, and I know it's frustrating sometimes to have to try to, give that same amount of love and energy that you're trying to meet their love and energy with them. And it's hard to do that sometimes. And I've actually seen it. Another benefit I've seen dogs come out of their shell, being at doggy daycare with us and everything. We actually had one who was, and he's been with us for a few months now. His name's Winston. Lovely little dog. Definitely a mama's boy. So he stays attached to my wife and stays attached to his mama for sure. He was okay around me. And then we started having this other dog that's been staying with us long term for a minute. And all of a sudden he started playing with her. Start playing with other dogs now, and really just comes about and very happy-go-lucky and jolly, and not really shy or timid or scared or anything like that. He's very much a happier dog now.
Interesting.
Oh yeah,
just like a human being.
Yeah,
I mean, just like people. They have personalities like people. They're little human beings, really. I mean, they're just they need that attention. They need to be around other pets and other people, and it will certainly bring them out of their shell. So that's another outstanding benefit of the service you offer, because a dog is no different than a person. If they're by themselves 15 hours of a day.
Yeah.
Sure, they're going to probably get a little depressed about
and
that.
Want to see, and the first person to see, they want to talk to,
That's right. That's right.
I know how that was when I was older as a truck driver. It's a very lonely job. So, if you ever notice, a lot of truck drivers will talk your head off.
Right.
And ramble on, kind of like what I've been doing lately.
Yeah. I mean, well, it's, you're around yourself for so long, and then you get somebody on the phone or whatever, and it's like,
love me
love me. So let me ask you, during the day, like if you're doing day boarding with you good folks, do you feed the dogs at a certain time, or do you ask they be fed before they come? I mean, how does that all work?
It's case by case for the daycare part of it and everything. Obviously, for the boarding portion of it, we do feed the dogs. If they need to be fed 3 times a day, we feed them 3 times a day. If they need to be fed, twice a day or once a day, however it is, we do feed them. However their schedule is, we try to make their life, their stay there as comfortable as possible, and try to keep to their routine as much as possible. I mean, we do have some daycare dogs. We feed them.
Yeah,
and some of them they just eat at night when they go home with their mom and dad.
Sure.
And that's pretty much it on that.
That's a good way to put it, case by case basis, So, do you offer? You obviously offer overnight boarding services, but do you limit the time frame that you will do the overnight boarding service. So,
No.
for example, somebody says, I'm going to be out of town for a month.
I actually have a dog right now. That the other dog that broke Winston out of his shell. She's actually going to be with us until January.
Yeah. January.
Until
Wow.
January. Yeah, it's a lady is
Interesting.
building her house, and she doesn't really have a place for a dog and doesn't want to give up her dog for adoption. Called us up and said, "Hey, look, this situation I have going on. Do you think you can watch my dog long term?" And we never even knew her. We never knew the dog. Ever had the dog board with us. So we were taking on a big risk with that. So what we did was say, well, hey, look, let's have her for doggy daycare for one day, and then we'll do like a weekend stay and see how it goes.
Yeah.
And would you agree to that? She was like, absolutely. I said, okay, cool. So dog came over. Then literally less than 30 seconds, the dog was just already in my lap, loving on me and just wanting to be loved on and petted and everything like that. Just a happy-go-lucky dog. I said, oh yeah, we'll definitely keep her for you. I mean, just some dogs are just easy that way.
Sure.
And I mean, we have no problem. I mean, if you want me to watch your dog for a year, I really wouldn't recommend that. But however, if you really need your dog to be watched for a year, we have no limit on that. We will watch your dog for a year. We'll take that commitment.
There you go.
Because it is a very much a commitment. It's like having a family member.
Yeah.
I thought 5 weeks was the longest we ever did for one dog. 3 months now. It's going to be the longest commitment we ever done for a dog.
And that's some great information. And all you realtors out there, I hope I know you folks watch.
I have a lot of them as friends, so they all know me.
Yeah.
And a few of them as clients as well.
Huge source for you, because a lot of people worry about selling their house and what are they going to do with their pet, or if they sell it too early and they have to move into like an apartment or something like that, or even a hotel.
Yeah.
For a couple of weeks until their new residential home is ready. What are they going to do with their pet? Here's a good source for you. So I'm going to link all of Jeremy's information at Bigner's Fur Babies in the description of this video. But this is a great source for you realtors. And he brings up a good point, and that is, there's some times that people are building a house or they have something going on where as much as they'd love to have their pet there 24 hours a day, they just can't.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody's having surgery in their house and they can't take a chance of the dog jumping on top of the dad who just had knee surgery or something. Those things happen.
We've actually had, and not that specific, but we've actually had somebody had a surgery. We've had funerals. Yeah. People had to go out of town right away for funerals and everything like that. I mean, there's a lot of instances people don't understand. And then, and I always get the same thing with people whenever I give out a brochure or a card or something like that. Oh, I got somebody. I said, well, and I never do take no for an answer. I try to, that's that salesman within me, and that marketing guy within me. I said, well, hey, maybe you don't need my service. Maybe somebody that might need my service. I know you're going to know. Somebody knows somebody with a dog.
Yeah.
That's just how it is around here. And especially in this town, somebody knows somebody with a dog. Yeah. Here, take my card. Somebody might talk about needing their dog watched, and it's happened plenty of times.
I'm sure. And that's right. They may not need the service, but guaranteed somewhere along the way, somebody may. And it's always good to have that, that person that in your back pocket, and you can say, hey, I got a guy. So that's a great service. Now, we talked about it a little bit earlier in that the precautions you take for COVID. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to get a little more perspective on what your feeling was like, when COVID hit, it hit some businesses harder than others. Yeah. If you were in the construction business, you didn't suffer a whole lot. You were kind of rocking and rolling the whole time, especially the paint business, the wood business,
the Porta-John business,
those things. Yeah, you're on fire, you're rocking and rolling. Yeah. But there were businesses such as restaurants and things like that all of our hearts went out to because of this. And I was curious on your side of the business, with pet boarding and things like that. Did you see an effect?
A big one. At the time, we only had 1 or 2 daycare dogs whenever COVID hit.
Yeah.
And majority of our business was from dog boarding, people going out of town on vacation.
Sure.
So when people couldn't go to a lot of these places that they would go to for vacation, for leisure and luxury and everything like that, when those places shut down, we shut down pretty much. It wasn't like we were just closed for business. It was just, and then on top of it, everybody was, kind of scared to actually have anybody come to their business and run their business because there was a lot of shutdowns going on too. And we were a non-essential business. Realistically, we really are non-essential.
Right.
Majority, if the whole vacation industry tanks, we'll pretty much tank as far as on our boarding side of things.
That's a good point. And I hadn't thought of that.
Oh yeah.
That's true.
And so for a couple of months we were in a lurch on that, and it had to rely. And luckily, I had the safety net still, but that safety net got very much shrunk very, very much when my hours got cut as well because events got canceled as well. And so I'm in the Porta-John business, so when people aren't using Porta-Johns for events all summer long, because we were rocking and rolling with events, we had buku events lined up from the company I work for.
Yeah.
And those went out the window. They had to let go of the salesperson that was doing events.
Oh, wow.
Because it was just that bad.
Yeah. And, you never think of that. The Porta-John business getting hit that hard. But, and it's kind of funny to say, but it's not a funny situation in that I had a Tony Gyro of Gyro Entertainment was on here recently.
We've done his toilets before, too.
Yeah. And he does a lot of events. And, man, you talk about getting hammered.
Yeah.
And even now, recently he had an event and couldn't even get a liquor license for it yet. And so those things are tough because that's, especially in the event business, that's where those folks make their money.
And it's even worse.
Beer.
I know.
Quite frankly. And so, that's a tough situation. And I'm glad you're getting through it. Has it gotten better?
It's gotten way better, actually. Once they were able to lift those travel restrictions and actually have people go to beaches. This summer was the summer for going to the beach, apparently, because I have never experienced so many people calling in for going. Once they were able to start traveling and everything, we went from having about 10 calls a day for boarding requests up to 30. We had to turn down people left and right. And I was crying because it was just like all this what are we going to do? We're losing all this business, but at the same time, we were so packed. We were just trying to keep up with everything. And then when August hit and we were, because we already had a vacation planned way before COVID even kicked off, we were glad to go on vacation.
Sure.
Because it was just, we were tired.
Yeah.
We were just drawn out, tired. And I haven't had a vacation in 12 years.
Dane Arnold with Itradexchange has been enabling small business in the Livingston Parish area to save cash through his network of over 300 participating Livingston Parish businesses. Saving cash by trading services with other exchange members is what Itradexchange is all about. For more information, contact Dane Arnold at 225-205-3640 or visit itradexchange.biz.
I was one of those guys like, I'm not wasting my money on that. And now when I actually took one as an adult, as a real adult, I see why people go on them.
Yeah.
Why they like them so much. And I had a fun time, I had a blast. But yeah, COVID, man, it did really well for my doggy daycare business because people working from home just needed to have a distraction-free environment.
Sure.
Because I did work from home whenever this first started off. Yeah. And I can tell you it's not the breeze everybody thinks it is. I mean, yeah, you get to not have to go wear a uniform or wear even nice. You can just go in your pajamas and go sit at your desk and everything at your house, but you still got a lot more distractions than you would at the office.
That's exactly right. And that's kind of the tough thing about having a home office like a lot of these people are having to work out of. Not to mention your kids were home too if you have children. And so forget about it. I'm a guy with 3 kids, and if I'm at home, they're tugging every limb on my body. They're asking me questions. They're wondering why we can't go eat ice cream or whatever it is. And I'm like, I'm working here. and so, there's a lot of people in that position. And in those cases, you're exactly right. I mean, it's distraction-free environments are very important in order to be productive, quite frankly. And so another great avenue is something like a doggy daycare, because guaranteed if your dog's home and or if you're home and your dog's an inside pet that you always pay attention to when you're home after work, they're going to want you to do that. The 8 hours you're there working from home.
Crawl in your lap, lick your face, or bark at every single twig that or leaf that blows by.
Absolutely. And if you're sitting there doing your little Zoom call, roof, roof, and all that stuff. So no doubt about it. Let me ask you one thing I was impressed with as I was researching your business was your acumen on Facebook and things like that. Okay. Of course, I'm someone that can respect that. I do a lot of promotion. I consider myself a pretty darn good promoter.
You got me here, so yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And one thing about it is, of course, I come from a family-owned small business, and if you wanted to compete with corporate America, you were going to have to do it through the internet. It wasn't going to be through the, $25,000 commercials or whatever is running on TV.
Those days are gone now.
So yeah, so it was kind of like trial by fire for me. That's kind of how I built anything I had was through Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and things like that, because I was kind of forced to. You do a good job of that. Yeah. One thing I like about what you do is your promotions, and some of them are really neat. You sent me some stuff today. I want you to talk about your Santa Paws promotions, since we have Christmas coming up. Tell us a little bit about that.
So, and I always come up with a lot of ideas, and some of them are good, some of them are great, some of them are not so great. And my wife is the best filter for this. So if she's enthusiastic about it, I run with it.
Yeah.
And this was one that she was enthusiastic about. So I thought about there's a lot of dogs who don't get adopted, or there will be dogs that get bought from a breeder and they're cute as puppies, and a year later they end up in a pound. I saw a post about that. It was from my memories, and I was like, you know what, that is messed up. People will buy these dogs and they'll about a year later, because they're too rambunctious or too big or whatever. I mean, the excuses I hear are just, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
And they're left in a pound, and sometimes they get put down because there's not enough room.
Sure.
So I wanted to try to do something that was going to promote dog adoption. And we work with people that we try to help out different rescues and everything like that. One of them is Rehome Repeat. I know a few of the people there. Some of the people that run the organization are my clients. However, I like their organization. I like the fact that they try to help as many dogs as they can. And I thought, I said, well, a great idea for I always try to think about how to do something with the dog suit that I have.
Yeah.
I wear a dog suit,
Yeah.
And there's times where I'll go around town in a Dalmatian dog suit and everything. I thought, well, why just have it just sitting there not doing something productive? Why can't I do something that's, meaningful, worthwhile, and, to be able to grow my business out a little more?
Sure.
So I thought about, it'd be really good, even though it would take away from my family on that day, to go on Christmas Day and deliver puppies or new dogs to people's families. Mm-hmm. I thought that'd be a really fun idea. It would create a memory for the people, especially the kids, because the kids are going to remember that the rest of their life.
No doubt.
A guy in a dog suit with a Santa jacket on, that you're going to remember that the rest of your life. Yeah. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
I thought that'd be a really good idea to do. And basically what it is, if you adopt through Rehome Repeat, it's $50. A portion of that goes back to animal rescue, and the rest is just for whatever operating expenses and things like that. What I'll do is the day before, I'll go to the foster who has their dog that they want to adopt. I'll take it over to my house, and we'll deliver your dog to you on Christmas Day.
Fantastic. And we're going to link that rescue. What is it?
Rescue Rehome Repeat of South Louisiana.
Yeah, we're going to link their information in this video as well. So to make it easy, you can just click on it, do a little more research on it. One thing I really like about that idea is here's from a parent's perspective. So if I can remember the day vividly that our Dalmatian, I'm thinking of your pet suit right now, our Dachshund, when we brought our Dachshund home, and my kids were still young then. My son was 9, I believe, and I believe my girls were 7. And we brought the dog home, and the biggest challenge for us was, how are we going to hide this dog to where they won't. We were trying to figure out how to surprise them, and it wasn't a Christmas thing. It was just we just got it, and we wanted to present this dog, so I put it, in another room, and then I'm like, well, I'll just open the door with the dog, the little puppy. She was a puppy at the time, kept on the door, and how do we hide this? So the Christmas thing is great because here's the problem. You either have to present that gift early, okay, so like on Christmas Eve, or what are you going to do? Yeah. Or the day after, because you can't wrap it up and leave it in a box all night or anything like that. There's no way to hide that, in other words. So what a great idea, and to surprise them on Christmas, Day with you showing up in a dog suit and a Santa hat and all those sorts of things, and you've got the new addition to the family. So I think that's an ingenious idea, and I hope, tons of people. I can see tons of people taking advantage of that.
I'm hoping so. I not, and it's really not for the money. It's really to really help the adoption.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is to help through the rescues and everything like that. Because
great cause.
Because basically, if you adopt a dog, that just makes another space for another dog to be rescued.
Absolutely.
At somebody's house. So, I mean, that's why I want to do it too, to help out with that and to give back to the same people that promote us so well as well. I mean, a lot of these rescue people hear about us, and then they start just throwing our name out there to other people to watch their dogs. And I want to get back into that, and I feel that's the best way I can get back. And then there's other services we have as well too. We haven't even got into yet.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about them. Okay. Name some of those. Tiffany Sicard with HomeKey Mortgage combines the experience and knowledge you need to make your mortgage loan a smooth, stress-free process. Reach out to Tiffany for more information on the vast mortgage programs available in the Livingston Parish area. Tiffany Sicard of HomeKey Mortgage, a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast.
We have a pickup and drop off service as well. That was now that came about from listening to my clients. As I told you earlier, I study Gary Vee.
Yeah.
So one thing I do is I try to listen to what my clients tell me. I listen for these keywords and phrases, and a lot of those keywords and phrases were, I wish I had time to really come and get the dog, but everything. But I got all this stuff in the back of my car. We have to go unload and come back. It's such a drag. It's we're already tired. Just keep the dog next day, but they really want to see their dog. So they'll try to come. I remember I had a lady come and wanted to pick up at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Pick up her dog because she missed her baby that much. And so, you hear that enough times, you go, why don't I just drop off the dog for you?
Yeah.
And then, all right, well, that does take time away from the business and everything like that too, but why don't I just create a service?
Yeah.
And go from there. And then if people want to do it, they can. If not, they don't have to. They can come pick up from where they at.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do. It's basically $10 the first 10 miles, and then 50 cents per additional mile. So
that's cheap.
I told my wife asked me, my wife said, well, what if somebody wants it in Hammond? You're not going to go all the way to Hammond for $10. I said, no, but I will go for the first 10 miles and then 50 cents per additional mile after that. So if somebody all the way out in Slidell wants me to go pick up their dog and then come all the way back, I'll map it out. And this is how much it'll cost. And do you want to pay there or not? Or you want to come drop off at my house?
Yeah.
So that leaves what I've always wanted to do is leave choice to the client, not choice in my hands.
Right. It gives them the option.
Yes. And people love options.
And there's some people, look, it's worth it to pay that money. I tell people all the time, how much does your time cost you?
Convenience.
Yeah.
That's why convenience stores charge more for their products, because it saves you time.
That's right. That's right. And time is something you never get back. And to a business owner or someone that is, they can't find time in the day as it is, something like that is a huge benefit. So to all you people out there, keep that in mind. They can pick up and they can drop off. It's a very reasonable fee. And so give them definitely a call on that. Any other services that...
Dog photography.
Dog photography.
Nobody else in this area that I know of does dog photography.
Right.
My mother-in-law is a photographer, and she has wonderful sets. and amazing pieces. But one thing I also noticed is that people never have pictures of their dogs on their desk.
I almost wish you wouldn't have said that, because I'm sure my wife will be contacting you soon to take pictures of my wonderful Happy.
So there's an asterisk next to that. It's only when you're boarding with us, though, and everything like that. That way we have time to be able to set the schedule and everything like that.
Sure.
With our mother-in-law, with our photographer.
Absolutely.
And bring them to the studio and everything like that. And that's usually if it's a week-long stay, 5 days or more. And we'll be able to guarantee that.
So there you go. Dog photography right here. Right here in Denham Springs. Who would have thought? Any other services?
Not yet. We are working on a few more.
Okay.
And hope to see where life takes us right now and everything like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the future we might be able to do a pet taxi service.
I got to hear about this. What is your thought on that?
My thought on that? Well, a lot of people, there's a lot of elderly people that can't get their dogs to the groomer, can't get their dogs to the vet, things of that sort of nature. And, they have appointments for their dogs, just like they have appointments they have to go to themselves. And there's also other people that just don't have time to take their dogs to the vet because they have to wait on the weekend. Like me, I have to wait on the weekends to take my dog to the vet.
Raising my hand.
My wife's busy a lot too and everything. And so some people just don't have that type of time or luxury to be able to do that. I'd like to be able to offer that service eventually. Look, now that's in the future. Now that's so don't.
That's
quote, please don't
I'm
quote
calling
me on
you
that.
more. That's a great idea, and you're full of great ideas, man. You're very impressed with your ability to brainstorm on ways to improve your business. And the key here is what you're really looking at is you're thinking of ways to make it better for your clientele and easier for them. And that's a genuine care for your clientele when you do that. So kudos to you, sir.
Thank you.
And just on the pet taxi thing, I'll give you an example. The biggest issue for us is getting to the vet just to get like our dog's nails cut. My wife won't do that. And I won't do it because we're scared we're going to cut it to the quick or something.
Oh yeah.
That is like, to us, it's like pulling teeth to get. I mean, we're a working family, and we've got 3 kids and they're in band and all these things, and plus our other kid, which is our dog, and so those nails get kind of long, and then we finally, we're going to have to do this weekend, and we do, and we don't mind doing it. It's not the mind, it's the time.
Yeah.
How convenient would something like that be? So
now, here's another thing too, Jim.
Oh
yeah, and here's another thing too. If you were to do Doggy Daycare with us and everything, we have an official groomer.
Yeah.
Miss Tina Carlton over at Off the Chain Grooming.
Okay.
Love that woman to death. Has years of experience. She actually
Love the name.
Oh yeah.
Off the Chain.
Oh man. She has one of the best up and coming grooming businesses I've ever. I shouldn't even say up and coming. It's booming.
Yeah.
It's they stay packed out.
Where's she at?
She's over there off of Range.
Okay.
Right across from Pilot and the old Hardee's building over there.
Well, you need to send her by. I'd love to talk to her.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, she's great now. She's a busy woman. She's a lot busier than I am. Yeah. I don't know if you'd even be able to get her on schedule, man. But I definitely give her a shout out. I love her to death. She's one of my biggest supporters of my business as well.
Awesome.
I mean, she offers a stress-free grooming. So your dog Happy might actually like that.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I'll have to check that out. I'll have to get her information from you. So I want to just wrap up that aspect with pay attention to all these services. He said he currently offers some coming up. He doesn't offer the taxi yet, unfortunately, but maybe coming soon. So you want to follow him on Facebook, and of course we're going to link all that stuff in the comments. But you want to follow him on Facebook, and he'll keep you updated with any services, I would imagine, that you add to your repertoire, as they might say in France or somewhere around there. Now we're going to talk about some fun facts real quick. This is with your particular business, I really enjoy going through these. Probably 8 of 10 of these fun facts, I was like really surprised that they were what they were.
Well, surprised me because I definitely wanted to know.
I will do that. Yeah. So a couple of these are just some percentages, and I'll just read those off, and then a couple of them are some more or less question answers. Mm-hmm. So here's the first one I came up with. Households in the U.S. or in the western part of the U.S. are most likely to own a dog. with 81% of homes saying they had at least one. So if you live out in the West, 81% of those folks say they've had a dog at one time or another. I find that interesting, and I bet some of that has to do with the snake population in the West.
Well, that, and I've been across the country, so I mean, it's a out west, believe it, even though it might be not to some people's liking on a political stance.
Yeah.
I actually liked going out there. California was very beautiful. Oregon was beautiful. Washington was beautiful. Nevada. I mean, even the desert. I was amazed at just the openness of the desert.
Yeah,
I can really see the mountains, Utah, and everything like that, and Nevada. I can see all the states where somebody would have a dog. It's just beautiful weather, beautiful,
and it's wide open.
Yeah, I can really see that happen.
So that was interesting. Here's another interesting fact on that same subject. Only 35% of homeowners in the West had ever owned a cat. So dogs winning that war.
Oh yeah.
Here's a fact number 2. 40% of the customers who engage with the doggy daycare business are between the age of 30 and 49.
Yeah.
BJ Pawn and Gun has been servicing the Livingston Parish community since 1990. If you need it, there's a good chance BJ Pawn has it. So go see them in Denham Springs. They're a proud sponsor of Local Leaders, the podcast. So most of your clients probably are between that age, I would imagine.
87% of my clientele base is women, between the ages of 25 to 45.
Interesting.
And working professionals as well.
And I think that's a lot of it. Is these people they're rocking and rolling, building their name, building their brand, or building someone else's, or whatever they're doing. But they're out there working, and so they want to make sure that their dog is taken care of.
Yeah.
Most popular breed of dog. I'm gonna let McHugh play that. What do you think? Most popular breed of dog in the whole world. The whole world.
What does popular mean?
Voted the most popular. I know that's very opinion, but
that's tough because you see all those like Shiba Inus and stuff, and
right,
noodles and specialty dogs on social media. But you mean like
they wouldn't be? Yeah, the most popular owned dog. So that obviously those type of dogs, while they're beautiful, they're
right.
Probably not as common.
Well, they're extremely rare.
Yeah.
I don't want to take too much time, so I'd say a shepherd of any variety.
What would you say?
I would say either the Labrador breed or English Bulldog, or even a small dog breed like a Yorkie. Because I know the English Bulldog and Yorkie are in the top 10 breeds.
Well, your first guess was
Labrador.
Correct. The Labrador Retriever.
A lot of people have Labradors.
The most popular breeded dog, and believe it or not, 29th year in a row that it's had that. 29th year in a row it's got voted that.
A lot of them also are in animal rescue as well.
Yeah. Oh, they're great dogs. Yeah. I've had a Labrador Retriever, and just one of the best dogs I ever had. Especially the temperament is amazing temperament with those dogs. Women are more likely to own a pet in general compared to men at 58%, men at 49%. So explains why your clientele is primarily female. The average length of time, I'm sorry, skip that one. 60% of homeowners say they consider dogs to be an additional part of the family. I was actually surprised it wasn't higher. I would have thought it would have been more closer to 100%. I can't imagine people not thinking that.
I think it's growing as the years go on and everything like that. I think this culture, as I like to call it, of having your dog as your child is actually grown.
Yeah.
Because when I was younger, nobody ever thought it like that. Everybody always said it was just a pet. Wherever I grew up, it's just a dog.
Yeah.
And then you'd always see somebody that would just love their dog like a baby, and they were always considered crazy.
Well, here's an interesting thing too. You know, back when I was growing up, it was not as common to have the dog inside your house.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Even
think
little
about
dogs.
back in the day. I mean, it was dog houses. You had an outside dog house, and you had like a backyard, and your dog was staying in the dog house. He wasn't coming in the real house.
Yeah.
So that has really changed.
It has.
over the years. As a matter of fact, I was so curious as to how much that changed. I looked up the stat.
Oh, okay.
So now in 2020, only 7% of owners keep their pets exclusively outside.
Wow.
I would say when I was growing up in the 80s, that was probably closer to 50%. So, you know,
I think the internet changed
that blew
a lot
my
of
mind, that stat. This year's vote of the most beautiful breed of dog.
Is it a doodle of any kind?
No,
Okay.
I don't think.
I'd be surprised.
What would you say? The most beautiful breed of dog.
I remember sometime in the last couple of years, I saw the statistic and I was like, wait, is that for real? Or maybe it was the dog competition and it was like, oh, wow, that. I just keep wanting to go back to Shepherd, some kind of Shepherd.
I love
I don't
Shepherds.
know.
Pomeranian.
Really?
Pomeranian,
Which
yeah.
we have-
which
which
I'll
we
say
actually-
is a beautiful dog.
Yeah, we have one that looks like
a little bit
fox.
too small for me, and I have a Dotson, which ain't much bigger than but Pomeranian. I've always been scared to hold those because it's like they're gonna break
No,
if you pick them up.
Those dogs are rough and tumble little dogs. They play very well. They're just happy-go-lucky. Like every Pom we've ever watched has always been a happy-go-lucky type of dog. We actually have one that's a daycare dog. Love her. She was actually the one that stayed with us for 5 weeks.
Yeah,
And because she was the last one to stay with us when Corona hit. Actually, a fun story about that. Her mom was going on vacation for 3 weeks on cruise to Australia or something like that, and their cruise ship ended up catching a case of Corona. So she had to quarantine another 2 weeks after that.
Oh wow!
So we had this dog for 5 weeks. This dog became part of the family,
Sure.
pretty much. And now the other day she was telling me and my wife that whenever she needs her to come from inside the house or to the car or something like that, she goes, "Come on, we're going to see Ainsley. We're going to see Jeremy."
Yeah.
That dog comes coming running up into the
wow.
car now.
Yeah, part of the family at this point. And the last one we'll go through on this, the most aggressive dog.
It's definitely not going to be pit bull, believe it or not. It's
It is
going to be
not.
I don't know if it was the little Dalmatian. I think was actually one of them, or Chihuahua.
I'm saying this because I have a dachshund.
You have a Dotson?
Yeah, a
didn't
little
know that.
a miniature dachshund.
Yeah, okay.
It-
Yeah, I've got one. That's what I've got.
little wiener dog.
Okay. Well, this dude knows his stuff. Chihuahua.
Yeah.
I never would have thought Chihuahua. I was actually thinking German Shepherd
Nope.
or Doberman Pinscher.
Nope, they're actually very good loyal guard dogs.
Believe it or not, the only dog I ever had problems with that we ever owned we owned a Chow Chow when I was a kid, and that was a mean dog. The only person it liked was my mother. Anybody else went near it, it would bite you in a heartbeat.
We actually watched Chow Chow puppy and we didn't have a bad experience, but they are very much
Beautiful dogs, though.
very
Beautiful
how's the way I can say it, very aggressively active and playful in that naughty way.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not talking for all you Chow Chow lovers. I'm not saying your dog's horrible.
No,
Protective would be a better word.
Yeah, like this one,
protective.
this one got attached to Ainsley to the point to where if I hugged Ainsley, he was starting to kind of growl a little bit.
Yeah, they get
Very much attached,
very attached.
to whoever loves them. Which I mean, Ainsley's there all the time, so she gets to love on them all the time and gets to play with them and kiss on them and everything like that, and tell them how beautiful they are and everything. So all them dogs eat that up. They love it to death.
Now, Jeremy, tell all these good folks where they can find you on the web in Denham Springs. And we already told them where they can find you in person right down the road. But if they want to look you up on the web, I'm going to link it, but go ahead and tell them.
We don't have a website yet.
No website.
Facebook,
though.
Facebook. We are on Facebook at Bigner's Fur Babies LLC.
There you go. So go there on Facebook and you can message Jeremy and Miss Ainsley and they'll answer any question you got. They want you to be comfortable with them and your pet. So give them a message on there. I definitely have a cup for you. I might have left it in my car, Jeremy, but I got an awesome tumbler that looks kind of like that.
Okay.
But I think I left it in my car, so we'll get that after the show. But that's from Farrell Calhoun Paint Company, and it's got like peppermints in it and stuff. So when we leave, I'll get that to you. I would like to thank the man that you never see, and that's McHugh David, for his engineering of this podcast. Couldn't do just about anything without McHugh and his genius behind the camera. So thank you very much for that, sir. My guest for today, Mr. Jeremy Bigner of Bigner's Fur Babies, the Livingston Parish News for the space, and all you viewers and listeners for your support. Please follow me on all my social media. Spread the word. I definitely want to thank my sponsors for today as well. I couldn't do any of this without all of you. If you have not watched my episode with Ivy Graham of the Law Office of Ivy Graham from last week, check it out. This episode has already received over 10,000 local views on YouTube and is very, very informative. It's funny, it's informative, and you'd really like it. So please check that out. Very, very popular podcast. If you're interested in sponsoring local leaders of the podcast or appearing on the podcast, please reach out by emailing me at jim@paintpodcast.com. Until next time, I am Jim Chapman reminding you to love your community, support local business, and keep leading. Sporting Center in Denham Springs is your one-stop shop for team sports equipment, school uniforms, and promotional goods. Conveniently located next to the Antique Village since 1977. Sporting Center, your business means everything to them because your name rides on everything they do.